you and I, when we first met, which is, 10 years ago? I think it's pretty much 10, something like that.
Yeah, about that.
Do you remember how funny it was when we found out that you and I both, at separate times in our lives, but still both, had dated Lauren Bacall?
I'll never forget that.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that both of us had dated her at separate times. And this is, Jason Robards was in there. I don't know what, but I could see if she liked Jason Robards, why she liked you. I'm wondering how I got in there. To be honest with you, now that I see her, Bogart, Jason Robards, Bob Bell, and say, well, the odd man out is Ed Tyll. Ed Tyll doesn't fit in with Bogart. I mean, anyway, how many times when you were a kid did you ever see her, like on black and white movies, whatever, and you heard that, just put your lips together, Steve, she calls him Steve, that's the character, she goes, Steve, you know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? She says to him, you know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? And Humphrey Bogart goes, he's got the Humphrey Bogart face, and he's looking at her, She goes, you know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? She goes, you put your two lips together and blow. Oh, my God. When I heard that, we thought that was the funniest thing we heard when we were kids. Whoa, put your lips together and blow. You know what I mean? Double entendre for kids, but that was crazy. Now you grow up and you go, oh, my God, this is Lauren Bacall you were making fun of all that time.
That was her. That was absolutely her. I mean, there's that story that I heard her say, this is like even maybe 20, 25 years ago when she was being interviewed on TV, that there was she had some stalker who was going after her and basically just said, okay, let's just get this over with, and slept with the guy just to get rid of him.
Shut up. Was what she, now guess what? I feel cheap. I mean, I don't know about you. You probably have this happen all the time. I feel like a filthy whore.
I feel like that was you, Ed.
I feel like a filthy whore. I don't know what you feel like now, but I feel like a disgusting used piece of tissue. All right, well, now what I love is, here, I'm going to do a tie-in for you. The other night, I'm watching the biography of Mark Twain. And last night, of course, Lauren Bacall is being remembered. Dick Cavett, I heard on the phone, he said that he walked by her apartment by coincidence. He didn't knock or he didn't go upstairs, but he walked in front of her building. And, her building is right on Central Park West. So he was going for a walk. And as he passed under her window, he thought, I wonder how Lauren Bacall's doing tonight. That's what he actually had to say. And he gets to the end of his walk. He gets back home, and that's it. She's gone. So he was walking. He was walking around. Yeah. So I'm like, this is so New York. Now here's the tie-in, right? Mark Twain, like Lauren Bacall, lived right on the thoroughfare. Mark Twain is on Fifth Avenue. She's on Central Park West. Celebrities love to walk around in New York. They get noticed. How you doing? Yeah. Good to see you. I still love you. Oh, every time your movie's on. So, you know what I mean? This is Robin Williams. This is what it is. Going through all of this effort. She was an actress at the age of 19. She was in the movie with To Have and Have Not with Humphrey Bogart, age 19. Back in those days, that's not 1944. Do you know how good you know how great, how phenomenal you had to be to get to break in at 19 and go right to the Humphrey Bogart level movie? Yeah.
I mean, the thing that hit me more about her is just an incredible presence. A presence on screen that really was like unparalleled. I mean, there are different people that, I mean, when you think about film in those days, there were a lot of people who, especially in the 20s and 30s, they were, almost coming out of slapstick, and they were kind of like over, kind of like crazy characters. And then all of a sudden you had these people who were like more real, like her, I'm trying to, there's a number of actors actually that really stood out at that time. And, that's what she, she could do. You were glued to watching her on screen, and she was, really effective that way. So that, that was really, one of the things for that time where she really was able.
Right. She did an episode of The Sopranos. And she was herself. She played herself. But in The Sopranos, Christopher you might remember, was always having a mob movie in his head made. So the episode is he goes out to Hollywood to see if he can get his mob movie made. And he goes to an event that she's at. Ben Kingsley is in the episode. He plays himself, and Lauren Bacall. So because the character Christopher doesn't get what he wants in the episode, and he had been introduced to her earlier in the episode, he has a temper tantrum at the end, and he punches her in the face and knocks her in the pool as the character. And you should see Lauren Bacall play the scene. I mean, obviously they use a stunt double to fall in the water, but I mean, she took the, you know what I mean? She was nasty to him. He swings. It was great acting. I was like, look at this old broad. She was kicking ass.
Totally old school. Yeah, she's not. Yeah, she's going to do it all. I mean, I have no doubt about that with her. You know.
But now she lived a ripe old age. There you go. Now she lived to a ripe old. Now, what does it mean? Does it mean that they probably all have the demons, and somebody handles the demons better, or is it that Lauren Bacall has less demons? She was able to die a natural death at 89 instead of hanging herself at 63.
Yeah, it's funny. When I did see her on TV and she was interviewed, she seemed to be able to. Again, I mean, I was talking about Robin Williams before, but I thought she was somebody who really was appreciative of her life and kind of was just happy with the way things had worked out, and didn't seem to be tortured in the same way of a lot of people we know.
Well, it's true. An actor, right?
Everybody has them, but
I'll tell you this: an actor would never volunteer to do what Robin Williams did every night, or every night you worked. Very few actors would want to jump on stage and run around and do all this extemporaneous stuff. Most actors are going to want to, hey, let me see the script. Okay, let me get the script straight. Let me get deep into this role. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. That would be a different work day for an actor. So maybe the actor is, I don't know, actors still. James Gandolfini, I was watching last night in some documentary, he told his high school teacher that he would be a rich actor. That's what he said. He wrote it down. He goes, when I'm a rich actor, I'm going to come back and take you out for lunch. That was his high school graduation note to his teacher. So so that tells me he was stalking fame, right? He wanted to be famous. A rich actor means yeah, okay. So generally you say to people, well, if you go into it to be a star, you'll never make it because you won't be good enough. You'll be so obsessed with being a star. But yet he was a phenomenal actor. He did great. I mean, the Tony Soprano character is going to probably live on forever. It's going to be right up there with the Goodfellas and the Casino and all that stuff about the mob. What's your take on that? What do you think that when a guy tells you in high school, I'm going to be a rich actor, then he turns out to be a rich actor? What does that suggest to you as an artist or just as somebody you watch in the world? Is this you think that's the way it works?
Well, a guy like him is definitely driven, and there are other people, the other thing in terms of thinking of actors, when I think of driven actors, people who take on, whatever it is, that's Stanislavski type role where they just do the same person over and over again for months on end. I mean, there's an intensity level to that is sort of like the same thing you have in stand-up of getting up every day. So those people, I would think are more prone to sort of the demons and the same sort of thing that we're talking about with Robin Williams. There's a lot of actors who kind of stay away from any sort of stand-up or any type of acting like that. And they're, like you said, they're more scripted. They just want to, they have a certain number of lines. They don't even improv that much. They tend to go by sort of that classical training and then, basically do things that way. So, my feeling is if you're driven in that way, there's a chance that you're going to have the same sort of, who's driven like that? Somebody, if you crave success, there's a reason you do crave success because of certain, you want to fill certain voids in your life.
See, I believe that. That's my premise. So you do agree with me. All right, good, because I wasn't sure. I don't want to push you too hard in that corner. But don't you think that's true? I believe that you're filling a void. And it may not be an obvious one because he was very good at hiding Robin Williams. He was on record as acknowledging it, but he was not harping on it. You didn't go, oh my God, it's like Amy Winehouse. I mean, she was always loaded. She was always falling down in the street. You go, oh my God, something eventually is going to happen, and it did. He was not like it falling down in the street. It was the other way. He comported himself very well. All of this love everywhere. He was generous. Every actor, every cause, with the little girl with the cancer, with the gorillas, with the he did everything. This guy, but he was compensating for a big void, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, in the end, especially if he had so much success early on. You don't see it because he's got a fair amount of, he can kind of hide a lot of the demons. If you have the money and success, you're just not going to see them, and then you get treated, privately, whatever. But yeah, I think with a lot of people it's like that. I mean, a lot of people are driven to success that are, for different reasons. Some people want to succeed out of a sense of accomplishment, but other people want to succeed out of a sense of, the fact that they feel they were undervalued, either in childhood
that's
ever.
right. They need it. I believe they need it, right? It's a genuine... I don't even think it's fair to call it an addiction. An addiction is something you pick up along the way. You try something and it has a real strong biological grip on you and you start flipping out. That's an addiction. But this thing, I believe, it's built in. It's a design issue. I believe. That's my thought. I don't know. It's still bothering me, obviously. I still can't shake it. All right, can you hang on for 1 second? I got to do a thing.
Sure.
Can you hang on? Great. All right, Bob Bell is with us, the Ed Tyll Show. It's great to have Bob Bell back on the show, isn't it? Do you not love talking to Bob Bell and his great... All right, we're going to continue with Bob in a second. Right now, this is a serious announcement for investors with $25,000 or more to invest in a product that will multiply your $25K 10 times in a very short time. $25,000 to make $250,000. How? By allowing professional Forex traders to trade your account. You will not be required to do anything except watch your account grow every day. The Forex market produces thousands of millionaires every day. And you too can reap a tremendous amount of cash by allowing the professional Forex traders to go to work for you. If you'd like to receive a free, and I said free, PDF with no obligation that will give you all the details, here's the email address. thetradeGroup@consultant.com. Simple, right? thetradeGroup@consultant.com. And your free PDF will be sent to you. Remember, this opportunity is only available to those with $25,000 or more liquid to invest. If you've tried to trade the market on your own and you haven't had success, don't feel bad. Don't be surprised. Allow the traders, the Forex traders, I'm going to give you that address again, allow the Forex traders to trade on behalf of you. Positions are limited, as they must not take on more clients than they can trade effectively. You understand this, right? Positions are limited. So why not get your free PDF today? Send your request to thetradeGroup@consultant.com. Remember, serious investors with $25,000 or more to invest in a product that will multiply your $25,000 10 times in a very short time. Allow professional Forex traders to trade your account. Here's where you send your request for the free PDF that explains it all. You'll get the details. It's the email, thetradeGroup@consultant.com. You heard about it here on the Ed Tyll Show. Why? This is the kind of opportunity, if you're looking for one, you're in the market to make serious progress, to make you have an objective, you have an investment goal, you've set up for yourself what you intend to do this year in terms of making serious money. We're not talking about peripheral cash, we're talking about serious money here.
The Ed Tyll Show.
And this message is for you. Serious investors, $25,000 or more, this is your opportunity to invest in a product that will multiply your investment by a multiple of 10. A multiple of 10. So get your email out right now. Get the free PDF and see how. The Trade Group at consultant.com, the way it sounds. It's The Trade Group at consultant.com. You heard about it here on the Ed Tyll Show. Positions are limited. You understand that? Positions are limited here. They cannot take on more clients than they can trade effectively. But if you are a serious investor with $25,000 or more to invest, get your free PDF and see what your investment goals are compared to matching your investment against an opportunity to make 10 times your investment. It's powerful. And you can get your free PDF today. The Trade Group at consultant.com. All right, let's get back to Bob Bell. He's Ed Tyll. Oh man, isn't that exciting? Don't you love that? I would have. Wouldn't you have? How much fun would you have, Bob Bell, taking $25K liquid and taking it to $250,000? Would you? How much fun would that be? Do you want to go out drinking and have some dinner after that? You want to go get some lobster after that? Come on.
That sounds good to me, man.
Doesn't it?
That sounds great, man. Going out there and just playing the markets and then just being able to tie into what's going on there.
Yeah, you and I could become wolves of Wall Street. You want to be a Wall Street wolf? Come on, you, me, and Leo. We're all in this together. You, me, and Leo. We're gonna be Wall Street, wolves. Ow, werewolf of Wall Street, huh? All right. Well, anyway, I'm still pretty busted up about this thing because I think any of us who do what he did and go, oh my God, all of that is still insufficient is a big shakeup. He was looked at as one of the most successful of all time, and now he looks like, you know what? I went through the list yesterday. Lenny Bruce with the heroin. Richard Pryor talked about this. All of these big names. Rich Jenny. Do you remember the story of Rich Jenny? How I told you I met him in '87. He's famous for his own comedy. He does the Jaws is like his big bit. He's got a big Jaws bit. He's famous, but he really made his money writing for big names in Hollywood. He wrote for the Tonight Show. He wrote for the Oscars. He wrote for all the big things. This guy, same thing, out of nowhere, killed himself. And his family was interviewed because they looked into all these cases in the last day or so. They asked his family. His sister says, we had no idea. The wife had no idea. A wife and a sister had no idea. How does that? It blows my mind a little bit still. I'm still kind of reeling from this. I'm not going to.
It's always surprising, yeah. I mean, the fact that there were no, within, because they were close to him, that they have no internal signs of something going on. That is, takes it back.
I don't know. It does. It worries me that people. A guy said yesterday, it's a brain disease, Dr. Drew. It's a brain disease. It's a brain disease. So what does this mean? It's a brain disease. It's undiagnosable. It's one where you can't get the patient to take the medicine, or the medicine doesn't work, and we have no idea. I'm not really sure what they're saying. I used to think this was all behavioral. Right? Didn't you? We always behavioral. You got to manage your behavior, coping skills, blah 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 blah. Well, if that doesn't work, then or he couldn't get it to work. That's the thing, right? You'd have to be facing. Well, he didn't get it to work. You can't say it doesn't work. There must be ways for people to cope, but he wasn't able to get it done. We said, well, Jesus, if he's not going to get it done with all those resources, how's anybody else going to? How does anybody get this done? Or do you have to sign away your, sanity, health, or whatever, in order to do great things like that? When it's in show business, when it's really all you, when it's all you, you're a novelist. It's you and the computer all day. A stand-up comedian, you and your notebook and your tape recorder all day. I'm trying to get at what this is. I'm not sure what to make of it. You can tell it's still bugging me, right? I'm asking the same question for an hour now. Sure. What do you think?
it's, look, I think it's different for everybody.
Really?
Everybody's situation is different, and I think, with him, there were, now, the other thing is when you look back on it with people that which happens to, you always do see that there were signs, that there were, with internally, there was an addiction issue that had gone on, which I wasn't really aware of, but there is addiction issue over the past number of years. I remember he used to talk about, buying drugs and, getting cocaine in the middle of the night. This is back like in the late 80s, early 90s, and then he stopped that. So it's tough because what happens is I think everybody maybe in certain ways, I don't know what his psyche was like, whether he was that much of a manic depressive or whatever. But you throw on top of it, like I said, the drug issue, and now all of a sudden you're depressed, and a number of things happen. Things line up, like you said. The show gets canceled. You're getting older. Things. You take things that you could deal with in a normal setting, and then all of a sudden it's magnified by the fact that you're in this other state. So it's is it something that was related to him and his psyche, or was it a thing that was exacerbated by the drugs? I can't tell, but I know with everybody, all the people that you mentioned, it's a little bit different. I mean, Lenny Bruce had his own demons. And some of the other people you've mentioned, it's the same thing. It's hard to pinpoint, and I think the only way you can really hope is that the people that are that know about it try as best they can to basically make people aware of what's going on. And sometimes look, all the people around him loved him. His wife, his daughter, and all those people. But sometimes it slips through the cracks, and it's sad, and you don't know what to make of it. I don't know. I mean, it's really look. It's unfortunate, and unfortunately, I think these things are going to happen. Are going to keep on happening. Hopefully, now we try to deal with it with this sort of whatever suicide hotlines and all that sort of stuff. But these things again, if you're in a position like he is, where he's insulated from a lot of everyday stuff, sometimes in a certain, I think that if you're in a position where you're more like everyday, right, you're probably in better shape to protect against this, because you can't avoid people. People see it. People say, okay, this guy's having a problem. People can intervene. He's in a situation where, he doesn't have to deal with a lot of people. He only has to deal with his people around him, his wife.
Let me explore this with you. Let me explore something you said a second ago, because it's still sinking in. You do think it's case-by-case unique, like similar to fingerprints and DNA, where it's not like it could never be duplicated. There's a finite number of body chemicals, but it would come out pretty much like a fingerprint or a DNA, a mental state, and that there's not going to be big generalities you're going to be able to draw, like you could say about, be careful with your joints and your low impact, Ed, you're getting old now. Make sure when you do your exercises, you're on a carpet and you're wearing Reeboks. You don't want to break your ankles. I get it, but no good, because this is, like you're saying, unique or unique-ish. Because I'm grasping at some kind of connection lesson here, but is it really as unique as the people are? Like that's it, the way everybody's got a different face and a different fingerprint, they all have a different combination of what's going on upstairs.
Yeah, I believe that. I think there are things that are common, but I think it's very difficult. And I think what happens is if you're in, like with his situation or some of the other people he mentioned, if they're in a situation where they can, to the outside world, at least to a certain extent, not so much concealed, but it's not apparent or not obviously apparent what is going on. It's very hard for people to come in and say something to him, especially in the position he's in. People who are like, producers, a lot of people are not going to intervene with him because he's in a situation. He's who he is. If you're more an average day person, somebody's more likely to say, "Hey, look, I think there's issues here, or whatever. You should do something about it." Now, I think some, that happened to a certain extent, but I think we'll look, the same thing with Philip Seymour Hoffman, right? The heroin overdose, all this sort of thing. is, people around him, definitely knew, certain people sort of knew what was going on, but, he's in a situation where, are you going to tell this guy who's like one of the, greatest actors of the generation, what's, how you feel? A lot of people won't do that. They're like too either intimidated or they feel, they feel more distant. And that's part of the problem.
You're right. You know what? You hit on it because his wife, now back to Robin Williams, went to work without even looking in on him. That's how, you know what I mean? Either he didn't make any noise. It's hard to believe you could hang yourself and make no noise, but I guess he could keep it quiet enough not to bring her into the room. But, it's hard to imagine that Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's scoring heroin from different people and doing heroin with different people, and I guess there was something else too that he was doing with it. There was heroin and something else that they were using to I don't know. He was using two things. He was using heroin in a method that's trendy now. There's a way they use it with something in conjunction with something, makes it more easier to function at work. You can still go see your kids. I don't know. It's insane. I'm always having fun when you call. What are you off to? What are you doing? I feel like I'm taking up too much of your time. Are you good on time?
Yeah, I'm going to be. I'm probably going to Grizzly Pear tonight. See if I can get on the show. I was on Jeff Martin's show last week. We'll see. I know Jeff Martin has a show and Jen Matascia has a show, so that's at the Grizzly Pear on McDougal. So I'll be trying to get on there, and then the rest of the week just going to different places. Maybe I'll be back at M White Bar Thursday, but they're making the rounds and trying to see if set up road work. That's the stuff we did, and a number of years ago. We're trying to see that kind of can come
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right. This is our cycle. We did the congressional elections last time.
That's right. So
nice.
that's the other thing that's going on. I'm pushing that,
nice.
And as time goes on, I'll be able to tell you and everybody else listening, where we'll be and
right on.
Hopefully get some things coming through. So.
Hey, you know what? I did leave out an issue. Do you have 60 more seconds just to take a stab at one more? Because I just saw it. I knew I'd want just a quick one. Did that race car accident? Was it a complete accident, or did that driver see that guy and retaliate?
I don't know about the whole thing. I would think it's pretty unlikely. I mean, I don't. So basically, the one guy crashed the other guy's car, and then they're saying that he retaliated.
Here's what happens: a guy runs him off the road. He jumps out of the car to yell at the guy who ran him off the road. Mm-hmm. Then the guy who ran him off the road runs him over.
Yeah. That's a good question. I didn't realize it was like that. It could be a heat of the moment thing where he's so pissed off. Maybe he wants to drive by him and scare him.
That's it. That's exactly it. You're the man. You are so good. That is, I believe you've hit it. It was an attempt to be bravado, and it went too far. There you go. All right, Bob Bell, you are the best. It is great to hear you. Grizzly Pear tonight on McDougal in Greenwich Village, and then we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. All right, man. Same here. You got it. All right, Bob Bell.
Bye-bye.
Home run every time with Bob Bell. Bob Bell is like, he's a little bit like Robin Williams. He always kills. Robin Williams says that he killed in front of Bob Hope. Bob Hope got mad. Ed Tyll Show. And let's see. I tell you a couple of good things. I got some